If you've been living under a rock and you only watch corporate media, Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, the former DNC chair who had to resign in disgrace, and of course share this video, let's get this out there, has been surprisingly embroiled in a scandal. Not really known often with Debbie Wasserman-Schultz. You would think she's an angel. She's never has a scandal, right? So Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, I'll tell you briefly if you don't know the story. Her and many other congressional Democrats had a IT staffer named Imran Khan. Imran Khan, for about a decade, Imran Khan did IT for about 24 House Democrats, including Debbie Wasserman-Schultz. His family was part of the business, so his wife and some others also worked on the IT. So essentially, you have a gentleman who did IT. WikiLeaks, Imran was mentioned in emails relating to Debbie Wasserman-Schultz. That Imran, people close and work for Debbie Wasserman-Schultz in terms of getting passwords for her online stuff, said, ask Imran. He has her iPad. He has her iPad password. So obviously he had access to her emails, her equipment, all that stuff. So in February of this year, Imran Khan, a Capitol Hill police investigation opened up into Imran Khan because he was charged with allegations of data theft, stealing equipment, and now recently bank fraud. So those are some heavy-duty charges to someone who has had access to two dozen House Democrats, not just Debbie Wasserman-Schultz. He was charged with data theft. He was charged with equipment theft, as well as fraudulent bank charges. So, needless to say, we're innocent till proven guilty in the United States of America, but every House Democrat that he was doing IT for fired him. Because obviously, if somebody who has access to equipment, your resources, your emails, private information you don't want going out there, and he's under criminal investigation for theft, you might not want to keep him having access to those things. There was only one House Democrat that did not fire him in February. Take a guess who that was. Debbie Wasserman-Schultz. So Debbie Wasserman-Schultz kept him on beyond February. Up until last week when Imran was arrested at Dulles Airport trying to fly out of the country. This is somebody who was under criminal investigation. He was aware he was under criminal investigation, and he was flying to his family in Pakistan. His wife had wired $280,000 to Pakistan, to their family. The ticket was for 6 months, so this was not like a vacation. This was like getting the hell out of town. And he was arrested at Dulles Airport. Debbie Wasserman-Schultz then fired him the next day. So there's been a lot of questions. Debbie Wasserman-Schultz's office has only issued one statement. I have reached out repeatedly. Shocker, they haven't gotten back to me. Share this video. Let's get this out there. I want more eyeballs on this story. So essentially, you have Debbie Wasserman-Schultz strangely kept this person on, was the only person to keep him on, yet after all the House Democrats fired him and this criminal investigation opened, he was restricted where he couldn't get access to any of the equipment, any of the servers, or anything like that. So essentially, he was like, that would be like me as a journalist on air having duct tape over my mouth. I wouldn't be able to speak, I wouldn't be able to report or do commentary unless I did it via sock puppet. I wouldn't be able to do my job. Yet, this person was literally restricted. He could not get access to the servers, to the emails, to anything, yet Debbie Wasserman-Schultz kept him on up until last week. Debbie Wasserman-Schultz's office, after firing him, said he was only a part-time advisor. And after the criminal investigation opened, they moved him from an IT specialist to an IT advisor. As I said last week, I don't know what an IT advisor does. If you don't have access to your client's software or computer or iPad or, whatever it is, how are you supposed to troubleshoot? I'm not minimizing IT professionals. They make good money and they're hard workers, but you can't, advising your client doesn't help. You're expected as the IT specialist to actually go in and fix the problems and set up the software and troubleshoot and all those things. Okay, so if you just do a brief congressional search for how much money Imran has been paid since the criminal investigation opened. And since he was restricted from getting access, he was paid about, literally, by the dot, $5,000.01. That's $5,000.01. Imran himself has been paid, Imran was paid $1,494.45. Then he was paid $111.11. And his wife, who also worked with him, was paid $3,394.45. And that is all in the time span between January 1st of the first quarter, so January 1st of this year through the end of March. Well, the criminal investigation opened at the beginning of February, and in the beginning of February, and then his access was restricted at that time. So between Imran and his wife, who worked together, Debbie Wasserman-Schultz's office, it's listed here, has paid $5,000.01 to them for advising. Well, what exactly are they advising? What did he do where you paid him $5,000 specifically? We have the list here of how much they were paid, but we don't have what services they provided. IT advising by somebody who's under criminal investigation, by somebody who doesn't have access to your actual software. Hey, if I can get paid $5,000 for 3 months' work where I literally can't do anything, sign me up. If it's legal, of course. So, something don't smell right, folks. And I've had the trolls saying, Jordan, you're reaching, and stop sharing Daily Caller stories and right-wing stories. Let me just make sure you guys know. I am not opposed to conservative media if their facts are right. We're all entitled to have our opinions. I'm a progressive, I make that clear. But I can't report to you with the wrong facts. So if the Daily Caller or even Fox News, if they have stories where the facts are right, then I will credit them and do my own reporting. Now, in the stories that I have read from the Daily Caller and Fox News, I have independently confirmed what they reported, and everything I've seen that they've reported is factual. So I think the Hill bots and the Wasserman-Shultz bots who are saying, oh, this is just the Bernie bros going at it again. This is those progressives who can't get with the program and just go after Trump, ignore Democratic corruption and go after Trump. I have looked into this and the facts so far are right. Now, a lot of you won't like what I'm going to say, but as a journalist, I have to be fair. I don't have capital P proof of any criminal wrongdoing yet by Debbie Wasserman-Schultz. But we do have questions that need to be answered. So let me tell you the latest from the story that just came out today. And I'm sure the Washington Post had a very difficult time having to write this. I'm reading to you from the Washington Post. A conservative anti-corruption watchdog group is asking for an ethics investigation of Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman-Schultz after former House IT aide Imran Khan was apprehended trying to flee the country. In a complaint that was filed Monday, the Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust asked if Wasserman-Schultz violated the House rules by continuing to pay Khan after he was cut off from the House computer system. So that's exactly what I was just talking about. How could you pay somebody? I mean, the listing only says from March 1st through the end, from January 1st, so New Year, through the end of March. So I don't know how much of that was paid out after the criminal investigation opened and after he was not able to get access anymore. But the bottom line is Imran Khan and his wife in total were paid $5,000 for 3 months. And for 2 of those months, they had no access to Debbie Wasserman-Schultz's computer to do any IT work. So I have reached out to Debbie Wasserman-Schultz's office to ask, when were these payments made out? I'm not holding my breath. I might have to put in a Freedom of Information request. I'll probably do that to find out when were these payments made. If she made these payments after he lost access to her equipment, either she's an idiot or it's hush money. Plain and simple. My gut, some of these payments came after he lost access. And Debbie Wasserman-Schultz will have to explain what she was paying this person for who had no access to her software, her computers, or any of the equipment to actually do IT work. And if there's any IT people that are watching, please leave in the comments if I'm missing something. If there are IT advisors that are paid just to advise rather than to do any actual IT work. So, I'll continue. Quote, it appears that Congresswoman Wasserman-Shultz permitted an employee to remain on the House payroll in violation of House ethics rules. Facts, which is the organization, Facts, Matthew Whitaker writes in the letter to the Office of Congressional Ethics. After Awan was barred from accessing the House computer system, Wasserman-Shultz continued to pay Awan with taxpayer funds for IT consulting, a position that he could not reasonably be able to perform. The complaint grew out of the ongoing investigation of Awan and 4 other House staffers who in February came under investigation after allegedly stealing equipment from their employees. While neither Wasserman-Shultz nor other affected members of Congress, all Democrats, have been linked to wrongdoing, Wasserman-Schultz's ill-fated management of the Democratic National Committee has made her a regular focus of attacks and dark theories from activists who believe the 2016 primaries were slanted against Bernie Sanders. I don't even know what to make of that sentence because it's such establishment propaganda bullshit from the Washington Post. And we should know because the author is Dave Weigel. So let me debunk what he just said. Okay, he says, well, neither Wasserman-Shultz nor other affected members of Congress, all Democrats, have been linked to wrongdoing. Wasserman-Schultz's ill-fated management of the Democratic National Committee has made her a regular focus of attacks and dark theories from activists who believe the 2016 primaries were slanted against Bernie Sanders. First of all, there is not a progressive I know that doesn't like Debbie Wasserman-Schultz because of her ill-fated management. What a ridiculous phrasing by the Washington Post. I don't care if she was a good manager or a bad manager. The problem is she was a corrupt manager. I don't care if she was good at organizing and delegating or bad at it. She was a corrupt chairwoman. She helped plant media stories negatively against Bernie Sanders as the neutral chairwoman of the DNC. She helped plan debates and schedule debates when nobody was watching. Do you know the first debate I covered for TYT was Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders in New Hampshire on the Saturday night before Christmas? Who the hell is watching a debate on a Saturday night the week before Christmas? I'm a Jew, and I wasn't, unless I'm working on it. So he says, Dave Weigel says, ill-fated management, and he makes it seem regular focus of attacks and dark theories. A subtle way of saying Bernie voters and progressive activists and their conspiracy theories who believe the 2016 primaries were slanted against Bernie Sanders. No. Nobody's talking about conspiracy theories. Everything I am telling you right now, everything conservative media, to their credit, has been reporting, because CNN isn't talking about it, MSNBC's not reporting on it, the New York Times isn't reporting on it, Washington Post isn't reporting on it, is based on facts in front of them. There is no conspiracy theory associated. We know that this man, Imran Khan, was an IT staffer for a decade for Debbie Wasserman-Schultz and other House Democrats. We know he was arrested in a criminal investigation was opened into him in February, and he lost access to the IT software. Facts. No conspiracy theory, no dark theories. We know that he was paid $5,000 by Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, his office, between him and his wife, in the first 3 months of this year, after he lost access to even doing any work for them. We know that he was arrested at the airport, essentially trying to flee the country to Pakistan while under criminal investigation. These are not conspiracy theories. These are verifiable facts that the Washington Post is trying to kind of deflect and diminish. So, Debbie doesn't look so bad. And the story's not on Debbie. As I said, there is no evidence or concrete proof that Debbie Wasserman-Schultz is even under investigation. So I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear to be excited. There is concrete proof that questions need to be asked, and they need to be answered by Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, and so far, she has not been answering. And from what I have heard from 2 sources today, she has essentially gone into hiding. You have not seen Debbie Wasserman-Schultz much, you have not heard from Debbie Wasserman-Schultz much, and she has gone dark, so to speak, with this news coming out. So, in the last month, conservative Daily Caller has followed the Awan story especially closely, and on July 23rd it reported that, quote, FBI agents seized smashed computer hard drives from Awan's home. That sparked fresh interest in the Awan story in conservative and some left-wing media. Tim Canova, a Sanders supporter who ran a spirited 2016 primary challenge to Wasserman-Shultz, repeatedly tweeted news stories about the Iran arrest, urging more people to ask questions. So you see what he's doing here? He's, instead of actually focusing on the facts of the case, instead of focusing on the questions that Debbie Wasserman-Schultz needs to answer, which I'm about to get to, the questions I have and I think you have, he's trying to frame it as, this is just a Daily Caller and some wacky conservative media, and some left-wing media. This is Washington Post bullshit. Don't get me wrong. Do I think this? I don't think they need to cover Debbie Wasserman-Schultz 24/7, just like I don't think cable news of the New York Times needs to cover Russia 24/7. What I do see? I don't think this has anything to do with the Daily Caller or left-wing media. Debbie Wasserman-Schultz was the chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee. She had to resign in disgrace for literally stacking against Bernie Sanders. And when he says activists who believe the 2016 primaries were slanted against Bernie Sanders, why are you writing it as if this is not a fact? This is a fact. It's not opinion. We saw in WikiLeaks the DNC under Debbie Wasserman-Schultz was planting hit pieces as if they were working for Hillary Clinton in public relations. We do know that Debbie Wasserman-Schultz and her staff belittled Bernie Sanders in email. We do know that they had a plan to essentially try to make him seem like an atheist ahead of one of the primaries to hurt him. What would you call that? You don't call that rigging? What do you call that? Serving Bernie Sanders tea and cupcakes? Share this video. Let's get it out there. So, I'm not going to read you the rest of the Washington Post story, but essentially, this conservative watchdog group called, Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust. And in fairness, a lot of the emails we got from Hillary Clinton, that she was forced to deliver, were as a result of conservative watchdog groups. It's hard for me to credit conservative watchdog groups, but credit where credit is due. There were conservative watchdog groups last year and the year before that subpoenaed Hillary Clinton, as well as the Associated Press and others, to get her to have to release her emails to the press. And judges ruled in their favor.